Ultimate Industries presents Ultimate Pro Wrestling Training. Welcome to Volume 3, The Match. On this tape, Tom Howard will show you all the action needed to perform an exciting match from beginning to end. This tape will make you realize that pro wrestling is not for the weak of heart. Performing the moves in practice is one thing, but performing in front of a live audience is a totally different subject. For peak performance, you need a combination of conditioning, strength, and the drive to succeed. Now, let's go over to our Huntington Beach, California campus and your instructor, Tom Howard.
Right, one of the things we want to cover is basically the segues from hold-to-hold wrestling, opening a match, into doing what's called a high spot. And we'll start out here, basically collar and elbow position. I'm going to come back and take an arm wringer on my opponent, put him in position. He's going to reverse on me into an arm wringer. Okay, now from here, I'm just going to take the arm, go into a hammer lock behind. He's going to duck under into his own hammer lock. And he's going to basically put me in a headlock, pull me into a headlock from here. Okay, now from here, this is basically where we seg into a high spot because he's got me in a headlock. Go ahead and lower the headlock. And then from here, I can basically take him back, push him in, and go into our first high spot of the match. Here, he comes off the ropes into our opening. Hip toss, backdrop, sidewalk slam. Probably 50 different moves can be done from there. It's basically where you're going to get your segue from your hold to hold into your spots. Go ahead and demonstrate. Basically, this is going to be freestyle. We haven't planned anything for this. These two are going to do a little bit of hold to hold into a segue for a high spot. It's off the fly right here. I'll call it. Okay, we got a tie up, pass behind with an arm wringer. Applying pressure with an arm bar. Forward somersault, do a nip up. Do an arm wringer. Applying pressure. Forward somersault, do a backward somersault into a head spring. Into an arm wringer. Into a hammer lock. Into a headlock. From the headlock, he's pitching him in. We got a tackle. We got a drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, feeding from the hip toss into an arm drag, feeding from the arm drag into a body slam, and basically you've shown some domination there, and we've got an opener to a match right there, as demonstrated. Okay, we're going to demonstrate some moves now that'll be used in the match. These are some offensive moves that you'll use in your match to basically dominate your opponent. We're going to start off with a clothesline. Now, the trick on a clothesline is to keep your arms slightly bent so you don't hyperextend your elbow, and then just basically swing. And the point of impact here is going to be with my shoulder, basically hitting his shoulder, and then I'm going to be wrapping around his chest with my fist coming up across the other side right there. That's the point of impact. What you want to avoid for this is the face, the neck, or too low. Okay, now the way I perform a clothesline normally is I actually take this hand and I push it across the left side so that I end up with a combined effort pushing the opponent down. We'll demonstrate now full speed, and we'll have Joe take a back fall or a bump as he feeds in for the clothesline. Okay, Joe. Ready? Okay. That's the movement. What you saw there is you saw me stepping in. Joe, if you could assume position. You saw me stepping in. Now, I'm stepping with my left leg forward. I'm stepping with my right leg back. So I'm clearing him to take a fall. Because when I hit him, he's going to go down. And I'm leaving him the opening to go down. Now, if I'm too far inside when I do this, he's going to kick me as he takes the fall back, and we've got potential problems there. So I'm leaving him open. I'm stepping through. And I'm throwing, leaning my upper body over as I'm making impact. We'll demonstrate it one more time here. Ready? Once again, leaning over very aggressively. He takes his fall. okay? Now, when you're throwing someone in and they're ducking the clothesline, I want to go over that in detail right now. As I throw the man in, he's going to duck the clothesline, and we're going to walk through this. I'm throwing him in. He comes off the rope, and he's ducking the clothesline. Now, I'm throwing this, stop right here. I'm throwing this at head level, okay? It's his job to duck if he's going to duck. If he doesn't, I'm jacking him in the face or whatever's there. So it's his job to duck if he's going to duck. I'm throwing it full speed right here as he ducks under. Okay, now my position at this point, once I've thrown it, I have a couple things I can do. I can either turn and hit the ropes and proceed back into him, or I can turn around and turn back to make an offensive movement. Either way, it just basically depends on what you plan on going into off of that. So what I'm going to demonstrate now for you is I'm going to throw him in, duck the clothesline, and I'm going to turn and give him a reverse elbow. He's going to take a back fall on that. Now in the reverse elbow in particular, same situation where I want to avoid being directly in front of him so I avoid getting kicked. So as he comes in here, I'm going to lean back, post an elbow out towards his chin. Now the trick on this is that my elbow, my shoulder, is hitting his shoulder, and my elbow is coming up. He's turning his head to avoid getting hit in the face if he's smart. And he's taking his fall. Once again, the impact is truly what's giving him the fall here. So I'm going to throw him in. He's going to duck the clothesline. He's going to feed in for the reverse elbow. Now the impact of his body basically makes me kind of almost spin. I hit here and it almost makes me spin because he's coming full speed at me. We'll demonstrate this one full speed as well. So we're going to show you a move now called the hip toss. There's a standing version and there's also a version off the ropes that can be done. We're going to have Chris and the future demonstrate. Start off, they're going to tie up. From the collar and elbow tie up, Frankie's going to proceed to get an underhook and take him over in a hip toss. So go ahead, please. Good. Now this is the same front somersault back fall that we demonstrated. As you can see, we've done this earlier in tape number 1, and this is how you're using it. The man, Frankie in this instance, who's giving the underhook is basically stepping in, underhook up and over, while man number 1 takes a front somersault into a back fall. Now we're going to show it off the ropes. Good. Okay, now what we're doing here is basically the same situation. As I pitch the man in, he feeds off. I stand in front of him here, and I'm getting an underhook on him. Same situation. He's jumping, front somersault into the back bump. So we're going to demonstrate for you right now the back body drop. Basically, it's done from when I start out and push my opponent in. I'm pushing him in the same way I normally push him in here. As he feeds off the rope, I'm bending down. I'm posting, usually with one right leg forward. I'm giving him a base, which is my shoulder, to push off of. I'm posting off of his thighs. As he comes in, I'm lifting him up. He's going up and over and landing flat on his back. When he lands, of course, he wants to tuck his neck and land flat, feet and back at the same time. We'll demonstrate for you here. Excellent. Okay, we're going to walk through just the initial technique here. As I feed him in, slow motion here. Basically, right here, this is a vital point. I've got one knee forward. I'm posting off of his thighs, and he's posting off my back. And he's going to arch his back, as you saw him do right there, and I'm going to lift. While he feels it, I'm going to lift up. At the same time, he's going to arch his back and basically form an arc in the air, come down flat, and then with his feet and his back at the same time. That's the back body drop. And we're going to demonstrate the body slam for you right now. The position that you want to basically take to get into the body slams, I'm going to grab the trapezius, and from there I'm going to bury my right shoulder into the groin, bend my knees, pick up with the legs rather than the back, hoist up onto my shoulder, up into position, and then I'll slam straight down. We'll have it demonstrated here for you. Up in position, now you see her body is straight. She's not just bending, and she's supporting herself with her hands and around the neck. And then, of course, you want to slam flat on the back with the feet hitting at the same time as the back. And, of course, it's the slap and the chin tucking to the chest. Good. Okay, we'll go ahead and demonstrate this on various people. Go ahead and body slam each person. Just want to have each person feet in, catch them, body slam them so you can see the technique. Good. Good. Now you see one of the keys on this is that he's driving them into the mat. They're already taking the fall, so you want to go ahead and go through the motion of driving them through the mat. And that's just going to give you the intensity that you need. We want to cover suplexes right now. When you talk about suplexes, there's probably 50 variations, but we're going to go through about 5 or 10 for you right now, starting out with the standard suplex. Good. Okay, now this can either be done as a standing formation where you're holding the person up. It can be done as a snap. On a snap, you step deep and arch your back and throw hard. But I want to go cover basically what the body's doing on this. Now, come around here. This guy, I'm wrapping the left arm around the back of his head, my opponent's head, and I'm taking his left arm and taking it around my head, and then I'm grabbing his waist. He's grabbing my waist at the same time, and then I'm basically picking up and pushing him up as we do this. Now, if you're going to do a snap variation, at that point, on a snap variation, you step very deep, arch your back, and throw. On a standing suplex from this point, you pick them up, hold them in place, and then drop. And we'll show both those right now. We'll go ahead and show snap first, and then standing suplex. Excellent. Okay, one more time on that. Actually better come around underneath. Okay, you can see he's standing, body erect, picks his point, walks him around in circles if he wants right here, and then picks his point and dumps him. Excellent. Okay, we're going to get a couple of different variations of suplexes here. Start out with double underhook suplex, or butterfly suplex, as it's called. Mikey, if I could demonstrate on you, I'm just going to pick them up and you go from there. Which one? This would be a double underhook or a butterfly suplex, as they're called. Basically, start with my opponent bend over, whether it be from a kick or whatever it may be. I'm going to take double underhooks right here, lock, lock him into position. We're going to bend together, bend please, and then I'm going to lift up, arch my back, take him over, and land with my belly and him flat on his back. We'll go ahead and demonstrate that for you now. It's called a double underhook or a butterfly suplex. Excellent. Okay. Next, pardon me. Next, we'd like to do fisherman suplex. If you want to go ahead and work with him on this, you okay?
Yeah.
This is not for the weak at heart here. Okay, fisherman suplex. Basically, something you've seen probably called the perfect plex, same thing. Basically going for the standard suplex, you're hooking, if you can turn the position here, you're hooking the inside of the leg here, you're going up, you're arching, you're holding the leg, and you're bridging to avoid pinning yourself and putting him in a pin. Go ahead and demonstrate for you. Now you see he's bridging, he's keeping his shoulders off the mat so he's not pinning himself, and he's holding the cradle on his opponent. Good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and show belly-to-belly suplex. There's a couple variations on this. There's the standard belly-to-belly with a pickup, turn your opponent, and land flat. And then there's the release belly-to-belly, which I prefer 10 times over the standard. So we'll go ahead and show both the techniques, if you will. Good. That's the pickup and release. And now if we could show the actual just release or throw belly to belly. And we're going to need to switch out our suplex partner here because this guy's taking a beating. Excellent. Okay, if we can get another person in here, we have volunteer. Thank you. Needless to say, you want to talk about pro wrestling being fake, there's no way to fake this stuff. These guys are taking a beating, that's all there is to it. Covering suplexes, we're going to go now into what's called a belly to back suplex. If you can demonstrate, please. Basically, you're getting behind the opponent, you're putting his arm around your head, you're reaching around the waist, you're catching the left arm underneath his left leg, picking the opponent up, go ahead, full speed, and falling back together. Now you want to avoid dumping him on his head here. Go ahead and fall back, please. Excellent. Now obviously your opponent needs to tuck his chin there and keep his arms up high and with his traps flexing up to protect the neck region, because there's an angle that you can land on here that's pretty steep and get away with it before you land right on your neck. Let's go ahead now, if we could, into the T-bone suplex, please. Okay, basically what we've got here, if you see, is he's ducked under the arm, he's reached around the neck, and he's coming under, reaching around the leg, reaching around the neck. It's loose. You're not going to lock any hands on this. It's fairly loose. Go ahead, please. As you can see, he's basically arching his back, picking up his opponent, throwing and releasing. Called the T-bone suplex. If we could go into the Northern Lights now. Now, on the Northern Lights, as you can see, what he's done here is he's basically caught the left arm, picked it up, put his head up underneath the armpit. So it's basically, this guy's got him in a front face lock, and he's wrapped his arms around his opponent's back. He's got him locked. Now he's going to basically take him over the top. He's going to bridge and hold it in pin position once again. Excellent. Okay. Now if we could go into the German suplex, please. Now the trick on a German suplex is to make sure that you're lowering, when you go to throw this, is that you're lowering your hips below your opponent's hips, okay? Make sure that your head is below your opponent's head, and his shoulders are basically almost at your eye level to be safe. And then, of course, you're wrapping your hands around his waist, very low on the waist, not high. You're picking him up with your hips. You're bridging, you're arching, and you want to avoid, one thing on this, turn your head so he doesn't run across your nose. Happened to me 20 times, and yeah, or release. There's two variations on this. You can either release it or you can stick it. So go ahead and demonstrate. That was a very high release German suplex. Very dangerous move there. Don't be trying that one at home. No way. Okay, here goes. This is a bridge suplex. Good. Now, as you can see here, he's got his hips. He's got himself pulled low enough to where the guy didn't land on his face. If you're high on this, as you go up and go over, the guy will land directly on your face, and it's pretty ugly. All of his body weight landing on your face. You all right there, partner? Okay. Okay, we're going to demonstrate another move for you called the sidewalk slam. Basically, you're throwing your opponent in off the rope. We'll do this about half speed here. As he comes back in, I'm turning sideways, and I'm catching him. Let's turn cheap for the camera here. I'm catching him with one arm right around here, one arm right up underneath the leg. And I'm basically picking him up from this point to right here. Okay. And we're going to have these two demonstrate from this position. You basically, we're going to have you go ahead and pick him up, turn, and drop. Okay? Good. Okay, just like all the other falls we've demonstrated here, you're going to want to tuck your chin into your chest. And another little technique that's very helpful when you're taking these falls, basically exhale when you hit, because there's no tricks to this. These are real falls, and there's a little bit of canvas on this wood, a little bit of canvas, a little bit of mat on this wood, but it's still stiff as hell. So the only trick here is basically exhale and try to stay loose. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate a move called an atomic drop. If you want to work with me on this one. Basically, we'll demonstrate this off of, let's say, we'll throw a clothesline. We're going to say you should duck a clothesline into an atomic drop here. If he throws a clothesline here, I'm going to basically duck the clothesline, catch right here around the waist. He's looping around. I'm catching right here, just like I'm doing the same movement exactly, as a matter of fact, as the belly to back suplex. So once I'm behind him in this position, he's arched. I'm picking him up, I'm getting low. Now you'll see where I am. I'm all the way down at his hips. My shoulder's in his hips. I can pick him up and I can sit him on my shoulder for quite a period of time here. Up. Now you see what I have him here. I can pick him up and turn him around fairly easily here. And then basically I'm coming down onto my knee. Now, the key thing here, you're extending your knee out and dropping him down on the knee. He needs to obviously keep his feet and his legs from bending too much. If he bends his knees as he drops, he's going to end up putting all of his weight on your knee, causing some problems with your knee, your ankle, and to his pelvic bone. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate this full speed, if you could. Good. Okay, now we're going to show the reverse atomic drop, which is a front version.
Let's go ahead and spin all the way around.
Yeah, spin all the way around into a reverse atomic drop. Duck the clothesline once again. Okay, good. Oh. Okay, good. Okay, we're going to demonstrate another move for you. This is a variation of a takedown to get the guy down, called a Russian leg sweep. Basically, on this move in particularly, I'm going to pull the arm forward, my opponent in front of me. Say I start off with a kick to bend him over, feeds in, kick to get him over here. I pull the arm forward, wrap around the chin, wrap my leg here. We lean forward together, and then I pull him back, holding the chin, holding the arm. We both go back to our backs. We'll go ahead and demonstrate this. Okay, I want to have that demonstrated again because that was actually not the right technique. If you stand up. One of the main things on this is that you're actually looping your leg deep into his, and you had your leg loose. Yep. Now, I want to be sure we cover that properly. Okay, he's got his leg deep. He's got the arm right up here, right about there. He's got his hand around the neck, the chin. He's got the chin, okay? Basically, going to lean forward together, pull back, and land, both take back bumps at the same time. Good. Okay, now your opponent's down. From here, we're going to demonstrate elbow drops and leg drops. A lot of variations on this. We'll start out with just the basic. We'll go ahead and turn you around, Joe. Okay, basic leg drop. Basically, you're going to land with your heel making the impact with the leg in a bit of an angle across the neck region. Obviously, you want to avoid too much impact with the nose and the face region. I'll start out with a standard jumping leg drop, and then we'll show you some variations. Basically, I'm going to come in here, jump, and land. Now, obviously, I've got a little bit of an arch here, but I am making quite an impact on the face, and of course, my heel's hitting for impact. That's the standard jumping version. The sliding version, if you stay in place, I'm going to basically run off the rope, and I'm going to slide in. It's the same deal. I'm slapping my heel when I hit. You got quite an impact here. The key for this guy is basically going to be turn his head because, you know, once again, it's all pretty intense impact. Here we go. Okay, and as you can see, I basically slide across and slap my heel down on top of him. It's going to be done over and over again. I'm going to do this one in slow motion for you, a little slower. As I come across here, I'm coming across this hip, getting my foot across his face, and I'm slapping my heel down. Demonstrating the same speed. And basically, it's the speed, the intensity, and the impact here that's going to make this look intense. And this basically can look like you're taking a guy's head off without doing too much damage. And we're going to go ahead and demonstrate dropping the elbow from the same position. A lot of variations on this one. Basically, you can come straight across, and you're going to form a V once again, and you're going to place that V over his neck and chest. And it's going to end up in this position as you land, with most of your weight coming across his chest, your shoulder applying to his upper chest, and keeping it close to the neck. Now, when you're starting off on this, I'd recommend keeping up high on the chest until you get good. And as you get better on these, obviously, you're going to get tighter each time. And this can be done from a straight position as I'm running in and dropping. It can also be done from a turn position, starting in this way, coming in here, turning, and dropping. And I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate for you. I'm going to apologize in advance for this one, Joe, because I'm pretty stiff on this. So basically I start here, I'm going to run across his body and catch him with the elbow. That's basically it. You see there I do the arch across his body, and I'm landing with the elbow across the neck. And you can watch that 10 times over in slow motion. I challenge anyone to tell me that's not real, because Joe will tell you it's pretty damn real. Let's go ahead and have this demonstrated. Both these moves, once again, you take 10 trained wrestlers, put them in the ring, you're going to see 10 different variations of both these moves, depending on their background, their style. We're going to have people demonstrate. We'll do a couple on you, Joe, then we'll switch people out so we don't kill the guy, on how they perform both the leg drop and the elbow drop. We'll start off with leg drops, go right into elbow drops. So you can see some different styles from different people. Good. Now what you see there is he jumped very high in the air, came down and landed. A different variation of the same basic technique. Same situation there. He's basically coming down and slapping. Same move. Good. Now basically the same situation there. You see them all, each jumping in different variations, coming down with the V of their leg across the neck, getting a slap with the heel. Joe, go ahead and switch out so we don't kill you. You get another brave volunteer to go down. Now we're going to go ahead and show throwing the elbows if you're not comfortable with this. You know, we've got all different levels here. This is kind of a standard class for us. We've got all different levels. People who've done it for 3 months, people who've done it for 5-10 years here. So showing all different techniques and levels. Go ahead and show elbow drops, please. If you're not comfortable, don't do these. Okay, now that's a little loose for me, honestly. You see where he landed on this was back here, just tap the edge of the body. Now you go ahead and start out when you're doing them this way for safety purposes. The impact's good, you see him still hitting, but as you get better on this move, you want to work closer and closer to the face to where you end up basically in a V over the head. Good. Good. You can see there, they get good air, good lag time in the air, and come down with a nice impact. Good. That's another variation you just saw there. It's a little bit more of a direct strike. And that's basically coming down. You can stay really low on this and come down and slap, which is similar to what I did with the leg drop when I did a sliding leg drop across and tap my heel hard. Same situation, but you're doing it with the elbow drop. Good. Let's go ahead and show that one again and get a little closer to his neck on that. Good. What you see there basically is the same as a sliding leg drop as we just stated, but you're doing a sliding elbow. You're basically sliding in low and coming in with impact. We're going to demonstrate a move now. It's another variation of an arm drag. It's called the Japanese arm drag. Standard arm drags have done left arm to left arm. In Mexico, of course, it's right to right as well. We're going to demonstrate the Japanese variation, which is right to right. And there's a couple of variations on this, one of which is as your opponent comes in, you're underhooking right to right, and you're just going up and over, arching. Your opponent's taking a front flip, a front bump, and landing flat, and you're landing together. And the second variation is a spinning version where you land your belly. And that's basically, as he comes off, I'm here, I'm spinning up and under, and I'm landing flat on my belly while he's taking his flip and landing flat on his back. We'll demonstrate both of them for you right now. Okay, you can see that's a straight up and over, basically underhook, overhook, arching, flipping, landing flat. Same bump we demonstrated in tape number 1. Good. Now you can see basically he rolled through there into his stomach and he's maintaining arm control here into a key lock. If we can get a nice tight key lock. Good. Now basically you've got control once again in a key lock, and from here, Joe, go ahead and roll back through. We're standing in an arm bar, ready to transition into the next movement. We're going to demonstrate a move for you now called the drop kick. A couple of variations on this can be done either from a straight standing position, it can be done from throwing your opponent in. The impact on this is going to be made with your feet to your opponent's chest and basically right across his head region, bottom and top foot right here. And we're going to start off, have Frankie demonstrate. Excellent. Okay, basically, he started from a standing position, jumped up, posted the feet sideways, pushed, and you also see he turned in the air and landed back on his belly. And of course, Joe's taking a flat bump on his back. Now, we're going to go ahead and show him throwing his opponent in and showing a flying drop kick. Very good. Okay, we're going to show some moves now. They're basic variations to the moves we've already done. Clotheslines, elbows, forearms. We're doing flying variations. Basically, from the person's being thrown off the rope, you're going to jump when you're about, say, 3 to 6 feet away from your opponent, and you're going to perform, whether it be the flying forearm, the reverse elbow, the flying clothesline. We're going to go ahead and demonstrate those for you right now. We'll start off with the flying clothesline, if we could, please. Excellent. Okay, now what we showed there is a duck the clothesline into a flying clothesline. That's basically a setup into the move. We're going to go ahead and show the flying reverse elbow now. Same situation, duck the clothesline into a flying reverse elbow. Excellent. And you can see he's basically jumping from about 3 to 6 feet away. He's making impact with the elbow, primarily across the chest, all the way up into the chin region, and hitting and rolling off to protect himself on the way down. Okay, now we're going to show basically ducking the clothesline into the flying forearm. 2 variations on this. We're going to demonstrate them both for you. Excellent. Okay, that's variation number 1. Variation number 2 is for the person throwing the clothesline, is after I've thrown him in, and I'm throwing the clothesline, I'm going to come off the ropes, and I'm going to throw this myself. We're both coming off the ropes at the same time, and I'm going to jump from right here. This is about an 8 to 10 foot move. As he's coming in, I'm jumping and cracking at the same time, forearm across his head, and I'm basically basing off his chest with my hand. We'll demonstrate this. Good. Excellent. Okay, we're going to show one more variation. Once again, duck the clothesline. We're setting all this up with duck the clothesline. You can do a lot of different variations, but we're using something standard to try to avoid confusing you into a cross body. Okay? Go ahead and demonstrate this. Excellent. Now you can see he's jumping from about 6 feet away, 6 to 8 feet away. He's jumping, he's getting his body sideways, and he's basically coming right below the chin into the chest region and flying through the air and landing on him. And the opponent's basically taking a straight back fall or a back bump. It's strong impact, and these are all very solid moves. Another move we're going to demonstrate for you is the reverse hip toss. Same setup as a regular hip toss, but rather than being taken over with the overhook, you're reversing it and you're throwing your own hip toss on this. And just walk you through it very slowly here. You're throwing your opponent in. He's coming off the ropes. He's coming in for the hip toss, same way you normally would, but he blocks by hipping down and blocking with an overhook. Okay? And he's basically going to jump across and get an underhook of his own, and then he's going to flip me over. I'm posting, jumping, and landing flat on my back. We'll demonstrate this one as well. Excellent. Very good. Now, from the same move, we're going to show a move called the backslide. A lot of variations on this. Basically, I'm going to set it up, same situation here. I'm setting it up for the hip toss. Comes off on the hip toss, he's going to duck under. Just duck under. Okay, catch my arm here, drop to his knees, and pull me down at the same time and go. Variations on this. He does it differently, obviously. We're going to show this, and then we'll show another variation from the same way you do like a neck breaker to get in. Same situation, basically blocking a hip toss, going into a backslide. Good, you can see what he's done here. He blocked the hip toss, duck under, catch the arm, slide back, into position. Okay, yeah, we're going to show another variation. This is basically done off of a front face lock, correct? Push through into a, okay. Okay, excellent. This is another variation off of a shoot in. Good. Now what he did there, you can see, same situation. We've got the hip toss blocked. Off of the blocked hip toss, basically he reaches over, catches my arm, spins us both into reverse position, and he's got what he needs right there. He's going to drop to his knees and make sure that his head is lower than mine, obviously, on this, so I don't end up rolling back off his head once again and pulling me down into the backslide into the pin. Basically now we're going to go into what's called putting the heat on, and normally it's done with the heel or the bad guy in the match, basically beating down the good guy, and it feeds into what's called the comeback. Go and demonstrate just some classic heat here. Excellent. Okay, now one of the tricks on this is we want to keep the baby face somewhat alive, so we're going to give him a little bit of a comeback here. Take a little comeback, and then you're going to cut him back off. Backdrop to keep the baby face alive, and then basically he's still beaten down. He's going to come back and he's going to cut off right away. Excellent. Okay, now what we've shown so far is we've shown domination or heat by one of the wrestlers, primarily going to be the heel. And you're going to see basically he's going to cheat while he's doing it. He's going to be using whatever he can to keep the man down. He's going to be stomping him down. He's going to be using offensive moves. One of the main things you want to keep in mind here is keeping your opponent alive to an extent, because obviously you don't want the guy dying out there. It basically is going to limit the match. It's going to make the entire match look boring. So keeping your opponent alive but still dominating. You're building up for the comeback. Okay, so we're going to build into the comeback here. This is all, like I said, has not been prearranged or planned out. We're doing it all as we talk right now. Okay, so we can go ahead and set up for a comeback. Mikey's going to end up getting a comeback here. Don't know what they're going to use, but I'm going to describe it as I see it. Gentlemen. Okay, excellent. Nice. We're going to cover some near falls or false finishes here, starting off with some real basic ones. First one is called a schoolboy. And basically I'm behind my opponent on this move. A lot of ways to get here. We'll take you through a couple as we go to demonstrate full speed, but I want to demonstrate right now the movement. I'm going to start this way. Okay, I'm basically going to wrap my left arm around my opponent's waist, and I'm going to lay down to my right hip. At the same time, I'm going to lace my right arm up basically into the groin to the right side of the inside of the thigh and roll them back up on top of me. If we could demonstrate, would you mind, please? There you go, your opponent's rolled up. Good for a 2 count, and let's show a kick out of this, please. Okay, we're going to go ahead and show this full speed into a kick out. 1, 2, kick out. Okay, good. Now that's a kick out. That's if the move's used early in a match when you both got a lot of steam. That's a good kick out. If it's later in a match after you've both been taking a beating, you're not going to want that kind of steam. You're going to want to roll out, be tired, get back up, and face off. But it's a nice little false finish. We're going to show you what's called a small package now. This is done from the front. The schoolboy, of course, is from the back. The small package is from the front. Basically, I'm going to set this up the same way, almost exactly as I'd set up a regular standard suplex. I'm going to wrap my arm around my opponent's head. Same situation here. I'm going to put his arm around my neck, just as though I'm going into a suplex. The primary difference between this and a suplex is that I'm actually wrapping my right foot around his right foot as I go over. At the same time, I'm catching his left leg with my right arm. And for the sake of my mic, I will not be demonstrating it, but we'll have it shown right now. Okay, wrapped up just like a suplex right here, as you see. And he's going to catch his foot and roll him up. Now you see the finished product here. He's got his arm wrapped around the leg, and he's got his foot wrapped around the other leg. And it's a small package. We're going to show a kick out on this. 1, 2, kick out. Basically, you're going to need to, on the kick out, you want to keep it fairly loose. The guy's going to kick out, spring, and you want to separate. The main thing here is getting separated from each other on the kick out. Okay? We're going to go ahead and show another false finish or comeback spot called a sunset flip. If we can go ahead and demonstrate another trick on this. I'm going to throw my opponent in. We're going to throw a reversal in. On the reversal right here, he's going to bend over as though he's waiting to give me a backdrop. Okay? Throws me in. Now he's feeding for a backdrop, as you can see. Rather than taking the backdrop, I'm seeing that he's doing a backdrop. I'm going to jump over him, up and over, and I'm going to, as I come over, do the frontward somersault. But this is actually a roll. And I'm going to catch my hands around his hips as I'm going over, land flat, and then he's going to wait for a moment and then sell to his back. We'll have this demonstrated as well. Good. Now, if we can go in slow motion here, before you pull to your back, I want to stop it at that point. We go about half speed on one. That was the complete movement. Is the way it's going to look in a match. Yeah, just stop at the flip point. Okay, he's got the flip right here. Now, before he's gone over here, okay, you see what he's got here. He's jumped over. He's got his arms wrapped around the legs, and he's pulling his opponent back now. The opponent's waving his arms. He doesn't necessarily have to immediately go back. You do need to open your legs so you're not pulling him onto your legs. And then your opponent basically falls to his back, taking a flat back bump. Same style, tucking the chin to the chest, landing with his hands flat. And as you pull him back, you see he scoots his hips up and applies pressure to go for a pin. You can also put your legs forward if you can get deeper and catch the legs. Catch the arms with the legs as you come up. Now, to kick out of this move, there's a lot of different methods. One of them is the ear slap with the legs. And the way I normally do this, I make sure my opponent's got his head fairly deep. And then basically you want to make as much noise as you can by hitting your heels and your feet together. Yeah. You want to basically get a slap on that, and of course, yeah, go ahead and demonstrate, please. And then separate again, and face. Okay. That's one of probably the main ways to get out of that. You can also kick out. Let's go ahead and show a standard kick out. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, kick out the same way, and then separation once again. Very good. We're going to show a couple more false finishes for you. These could be used for finishes, of course, but actually we're using them as false finishes or cut off into finishes. Basically, we're going to start off with roll through. Basically, this can be done off of, let's say, duck the clothesline. We're going to throw your opponent in. He's going to duck the clothesline. He's going to stop the action right behind me. He's going to stop here. Let's cheat that for the camera. By catching an arm around me here, and then he's going to run me towards these ropes. As he runs me towards the ropes, we're going to hit together, and then he's just going to roll me up into a pinning combination. We'll have this demonstrated for you. Who's comfortable with this? Very good. You see the bodies together. He's in a pinning combination here. 1, 2, we're going to kick out and show separation. There you go. Separate, roll out, face off. Okay? Excellent. We're going to show a move called it's basically another pinfall variation or near fall variation called an Oklahoma roll. It's basically a roll through cradle into a pin. Just want to demonstrate that? This is something, there's a couple of these that will be done while your opponent's on the ground. You're basically going to catch him and go for a pin. The first one, if we have your opponents down on all fours, you're basically going to wrap around, catching a cradle, roll through into a pin. So I'm going to basically scoop over, catch a cradle, roll my own head through into a pin. Yes. Going for a pin. 1, 2, he's going to kick out. Excellent. You see what he's done there? Very similar to collegiate wrestling. Same thing is basically a roll through cradle of catching my arms around the head and the leg, rolling through, keeping my own back, not exposing my own back, rolling through and going for the pin. Now we're going to show something called a Mahi straw cradle. Same situation. My opponent's on the ground. Basically, I'm going to come over. I'm going to catch the left arm, step in with my left, roll through, step over, connect right here, and at the same time, once I've spun around, I've got his leg here, I'm going to apply pressure here. I'm going to basically use my left arm, lace up into his right arm, around, and roll through into a pinning combination. Go ahead and demonstrate this. Do it in slow motion for starters. You see he catches the arm, spins around, holds it in place. He's going to lace his left arm up under, lace it through, and he's going to jump over himself and roll into the pinning combination. Okay. We'll demonstrate that reverse. Mikey, if you could perform that on Frankie. Basically, you're in a situation here where your opponent's, we'll start up here, Frankie. I'm bashing my opponent to the ground. I'm going to basically give him a stiff forearm. He's going to drop his belly. I'm going to stomp him once, twice. He pops back up on all fours, and I'm going to go right into the Oklahoma roll. I'll set it up the way it's being a match. This can be used at any point in a match, and I'll just show you a real loose way to get there. The first time I smash him in the back, he's dropping. As he's getting up here, I'm stomping him. There he is. He's feeding right there for the Oklahoma roll, Mahi straw cradle. I mean, I could think off the top of my head of 20 moves to do from here. So this is where, once you get a vocabulary of moves, you're going to find the ones that you like the best, that are your individual moves, and you're going to basically be able to use them. Your mind becomes like a database, and you just draw off the database and go into your next movement. So from right there, he speeds up. I catch, spin around, lace left arm over, and roll through into a pin. 1, 2, kick out, separation once again. A real simple move that looks very complicated and very pretty, very simple. And that's basically the match. You saw the recipe there. It's just like baking cookies. There's various elements, ingredients. Put them all together, and you have a match.